Hey guys, so it's story time. I decided I'm gonna tell this story because this story is fucking crazy, alright? Alright. So me and Matt had an argument or whatever, right? So I went home and shit and wasn't fucking with him. So he's like hitting me up like, I love you, let's get a room. Shit like that. So I started missing him and I was like, alright. So I got a room. I paid for the hotel room. We went. Everything was cool. He was telling me that his friend had stayed down at 42nd Street and they had went to Red Lobsters and all this other stuff and he wanted to do the same thing. So I said, okay. So we did that or whatever. We go to Red Lobsters. I'm inside waiting for the food. He's outside. And I kind of peeped him flirting with bitches or whatever. So, I'm mad or whatever. So he's like angry at me. So he's outside acting crazy. He's talking about he want ice cream. Like he's acting like a kid. So I'm just wanting to calm him down. He used to get so angry that I used to just be trying to calm him down. So I'm like, let's go get ice cream. He's like, oh, you're walking away from me? So I started walking up a little, further ahead to him. So two dudes hollered at me. And he got so mad. He's like, oh, where's my gun? And he was like, see, you should have been right here. And I'm like, first of all, you're being an asshole to me. So that's why I'm walking ahead of you. Because I felt uncomfortable being next to you. Because his energy was just so crazy. Like, you know what I mean? He kept hitting me and shit like that. So that's why I was walking ahead of him. So we get to the room. Like, I don't even have an appetite no more at this point. He went straight upstairs. I went to go get drinks because I didn't want to be around him. And I went to get him ice cream because he's a fucking kid begging for ice cream. So I come back upstairs. I give him his ice cream and shit. Everything's cool. I go to sleep and I wake up, and the next morning he was expecting money from unemployment. He didn't get his money. All hell broke loose. He was screaming at me. He was saying that if I would have gave him money when he asked, he would have never been broke. He was yelling at me. We're getting in the cab to go home. He's yelling at me the whole time. He took his phone and he threw it. So his phone broke. So now I'm shaking and he's like, oh, now my phone's broken. I'm like, oh, you can get it fixed. So I'm like trying to calm him down, trying to tell him all these things that he could do and shit like that. So we go to the place to get it fixed. He's yelling at me the whole time. He's outside screaming at me on my mom's block, and I'm just standing there like I just want to get away from him. I wanted to run. I'm thinking of ways that I could get away from this motherfucker. So, it was just crazy, yo. It was so embarrassing. And people in my mother's neighborhood were seeing what was going on, and I'm just standing out. We went back to his house right after. So we get to his house. He's in his room. He's breaking shit. He's throwing it at me. It's all over the floor. Then he's like, bitch, clean that up. And I'm just like, oh my God. Then it was a female there, right? And I noticed her. I noticed her when we left. Then I noticed her when we came back. So I'm smart. I catch on quick. You know what I mean? So I realized he's putting on a show for this female, right? So I'm like, damn. Shit was crazy. So we go back to go pick up the phone. I just wanted him to get his phone, right? So something happened and I knew that he was after my money, right? So I had stopped my card. So I didn't have no money to give him. I stopped my card because I knew that he kept trying to get me. So I'm like, I got to get it from my mom. Because I told him I was going to pay to get his phone fixed. I just was paying for shit to shut him the fuck up and stop him from fucking screaming and yelling at me nonstop like that. All right, this is what I went through with this motherfucker. This shit was just so heavy that I kind of feel like crying now. But I'm telling y'all because, like, this is what they do. This is what he did to me. All right? It's horrible. Horrible. So, we go back to get the phone. I pay for the phone. He claims he don't have no money, this and dirt, unemployment ain't sending him his money, all this other shit. He's acting psycho. He's acting like it's my fault. And I'm only trying to fix the problem and trying to make him calm down. So we're in front of my mom's building. He's screaming at me in front of my mom's building. Shit was out of control. I go upstairs. I'm like, Mom, I'm like damn near shaking. And I'm like, Mom, I need to borrow this money, da-da-da. So I took the money off her card. So I pay for the phone, then I'm trying to give him $40. Because I'm at this point, I'm not going with you back to your house. We're not doing that no more. So I'm like, here, just take the $40. He's like, get in the cab. I'm like, no, I'm not coming with you. I'm not coming back for more fucking abuse. Like, fuck out of here. He's fucking breaking shit. He's like, clean that up, bitch. All this other shit. Like, I'm not, like, come on. Shit was horrible. Horrible. Right? So, we're in front of I'm getting emotional thinking about it because it's like, he did this to me a lot. And it wasn't right. I'm trying to think whether I got rid of him. Was I able to get rid of him? Or did I go back? I think he made me go back with him. Yeah, this is what he did. He made me go back with him. So we get back to his house, and now he can't find his AirPod because he threw it because he was mad. So he's like, oh, you probably threw it out when you cleaned up. Now, mind you, he broke everything up and made me clean it up. So now he's blaming me for the AirPod. And I just can't take it at this point. I'm like, nah, I'm getting the fuck out of here. So I pretend to go in the bathroom. I left my bag. I had just got a new designer bag. I left it out there, whatever. I pretend to go to the bathroom. And I sneak by him and get the fuck out of there. What did I do? I put like my phone in my pants. I just made it seem so he wouldn't know I was leaving. Because I had enough of it. I was trying to escape the whole day. He was yelling and like just inflicting pain on me all day since we woke up in the morning just because he didn't get his money. And to come and find out he was putting on a show for this bitch that he was fucking. Tiffany. I'm saying her fucking name. Yeah. And, putting on a show for her. And it's like I peeped her twice. And it's no such thing as coincidences. They had me fucked up. I'm very intuitive. So, now mind you, his mother's boyfriend's in the house while he's screaming. He's breaking shit up, acting so crazy, throwing stuff right at me. And I'm just like moving, bobbing and weaving, all for his AirPods, right? So, like I said, I go in the bathroom. I'm like, you know what, I'm leaving that bag. Fuck all that shit. He had my IDs, he had everything. But I was like, I gotta get out of here. So I go in the bathroom. He's in the room, like, screaming or whatever. So I just walk past, because the bathroom's like, I had to walk past his room, but he didn't see me. I walked past his room, and I got the fuck out of there. I hopped in the cab, left my bag there and everything. So then he finally realizes I'm going, and he's calling me. I'm like, I'm never coming back. Like, you piece of shit. But I did want my designer back, so I ended up going back maybe twice just to get the rest of my belongings. But I should have just let that shit go, because it's all material. Anyways. It was so painful. I'm back at home now, and I'm just like thinking about the whole situation and like, why did all of that happen to me? Why was he yelling at me like that? It was just really heartbreaking. You know what I mean? I'm dealing with a lot of pain here, what these people did to me. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. That's why I don't like to talk about it, because it's like I feel it when I talk about it. So now I'm back home, and I'm like telling my son and everybody, I'm like, it's over. And then to come to find out that they all was in on it, you know what I mean? That shit hurts. That shit hurts more than anything in the world. And then I putting two and two together, I realized now why he was in front of the building putting on a show, because this lady that lives on the 3rd floor is a part of it. And I guess it was for her. All of the screaming and the yelling, and it was crazy. So now, it was so bad that when I got back to my mom's house and I left him, every time I heard somebody yelling, I started shaking. Like, it was just like, damn near traumatized. And, it's just crazy. I don't want nobody to go through what I went through. That's why I share my story, because it's hell. It was hell. And nobody deserved to go through that. I didn't deserve it. I was a good person. I don't care what I did. I didn't deserve what they did to me and what they've been putting me through. And I'm sorry I'm getting all emotional, because I didn't want to do that. But yeah, that's why even while I'm writing my book, it's hard for me, because it brings me back to that moment, everything they did to me. But I have to get it out there, because how they're trying to set me up for jail and all this other shit, like, when I got back to my mom's house and was like really thinking about it, I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I was set up this whole time. This whole situation was all a setup. It's really painful, and it's crazy that people go to such lengths to hurt you and bring other people involved in it. Like, it's crazy. I was working at this homeless shelter, and I actually really cared about these kids. They was the age of 18 to 21, and they was all boys. And I have a son who's 20. So I felt for these kids. I got my best friend a job there. She tried to make it seem like I was being, what is the word? like I was talking to the kids, like, you know, in a bad way, when it wasn't like that. There was this one kid who, he's not even a kid, they're young adults. He was a young adult who really, you know, he called me his mom and shit like that. So she tried to make it seem like I had like a weird relationship with him. Shit is crazy, right? So she also tells me, I was on leave, right? She also tells me that she was signing up people for them to get their stimulus check and was charging them, right? This is all a setup. So she said that she was doing it for Christian too. And but Christian had got mad at some shit. So I had hit Christian up. I'm like, do you want me to do it for you? So he's like, yeah. He's like, no, I don't even want your the stimulus money. I was like, I'm gonna do it for you. So he was like, all right, well, you can have the money. I don't even want it. So I applied for him for the stimulus, right? So it didn't come right away. I had gave him the information so he could log in and, you know, check it and shit like that. It ends up coming months later. It came in like November. Now in November, I had realized I was being gang stalked in September. So it came in November and it didn't have a name on it. So when that money came, I thought it was money from the universe. And I'm like, you know what? I got to get out of here. So I went away. You know what I mean? I went to Atlanta. So then he ended up getting a letter saying that he got the money. So I was just like, oh, wow, I guess that was your money or whatever. You know, I'm going to pay you back. I didn't know. Me and him was cool. But since I wasn't there, she got in his ear and they did all this shit and like they was going to press charges. But he said he didn't want to press charges on me because he genuinely looked at me as a mother and he knew I wasn't trying to take advantage of him. You know what I mean? So this is how they set me up. You get what I'm saying? So it's just all fucked up. But they got me fucked up because I got my proof. I got the messages when he asked me to do it. I didn't know it was his money. It didn't come right away. It came months later. I didn't even know what it was. So I ended up paying him back. I ended up buying a money order and mailing it to him. You know, because I knew the type of shit they was, you know, what they was planning. Which is crazy. But I just want to tell you how, like, they just manipulate things and all of that. So this is what I'm dealing with right now. And it's a lot and it's heavy. And when I tell my family, my mom's just like, oh, don't worry. This shit is serious. Like, I don't want to stay here anymore. I don't want to be in this environment because they all hate me and they're trying to get me. Then I'm going to the store and then they're coming around. They're rooming their cars. There's people that shouldn't even be in that neighborhood that's in that neighborhood looking at me. It's intimidating. It's a really horrible feeling. So, it's a really horrible feeling. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for listening. Shit is crazy, right? I know. And I just share my story so that you guys don't have to go through the same thing I went through. And, you know, thanks. So if you'd like to donate to my channel, I'm going to put my Cash App and my PayPal down in the description. Thanks, guys.